Hello everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for a book haul. So I have not filmed a book haul at all so far this year, so this is going to be a reasonably big book haul because it is for the entirety of 2024. I have broken them all up into different categories, which I will be going through because some of these books were presents for my birthday. Some of the books I have purchased for different projects that I'm doing. Yeah, different things like that. So let's start with the presents and we'll take it from there. As you probably are aware, it was my birthday in March, hence why I ran the Roll of Reads readathon, and several people gave me books for presents. So let's go through and talk about them now. I probably won't give a particularly big synopsis for any of the books just because there are a few of them, but we'll see how we go. The first book that I want to show you today is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. This particular edition is one of the absolutely beautiful Penguin cloth-bound classics, and it was translated by TVF Couffet. This was sent to me by my good friend Alison, who I buddy read quite a lot with, so you would have heard me talk of her quite a bit on this channel. This is one of her favourite books of all time, and she wanted me to have this absolutely stunning copy of it. So thank you so much, Alison. I really appreciate it. This is actually two short stories in one. So we have The Little Prince and then we also have Letter to a Hostage. I know absolutely nothing about Letters to a Hostage. I haven't actually read this copy yet, so I didn't actually realise until just now that there was a second story in here, so that's not very good, but I'll get around to it, I promise. So The Little Prince is a heartwarming story about a prince who lives by himself on a small planet, and it's about him kind of exploring the galaxy and meeting people and developing relationships and stuff like that. From what I can remember, it's been a little while, but yeah. Thank you so much, Alison. I really love this absolutely stunning edition, and I definitely will read it very soon. Then I have The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. This book was given to me by my good friend Michelle for my birthday, and yeah, I'm really excited to get to it. I'm hoping to get to it next month because it is actually Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany's pick for her Patreon readathon. I should just say that anyone that I talk about in this video who has a channel or a public Instagram or anything like that, I will link that down below so you can go and check them out. So this one is a bit of a kind of gothic mystery type story. 3 girls, 1 supernatural killer on the loose. So we have 3 girls, Zara Jones, Jude Wolfe and Amir Byrne. There's a serial killer, and yeah, there's lots of supernatural, gothic, scary kind of stuff going on. I have read, what was it called? I can't remember the name of the book, but I have read another book by Crystal Sutherland which I really enjoyed, and so I'm really excited that I've got this one. It was a very anticipated release for me this year, so I'm super excited that Michelle bought this for me. Yeah, that's about as much as I know about it, so thank you so much, Michelle. Then I have 2 books that were sent to me by the lovely Paige from Pages with Paige. The first one was An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. So this one, I believe, is a bit of a dark academia, again, gothic-y type of book. We follow Laura Sheridan. It says, tangled in a sinister game of politics, bloodthirsty professors and dark magic, Laura and Camilla must decide how much they are willing to sacrifice in their ruthless pursuit of knowledge. So yeah, it sounds really interesting. I have heard quite good things about this one, so I'm very excited to get to it, hopefully relatively soon. So thank you so much for this one, Paige. And also thank you for The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. I basically know nothing, or basically can't remember anything about what I've heard about this book. I put it on my wish list because I heard someone talking about it and it sounded really cool. Still can't remember what they said or who they were. Sorry. But it says, curses are meant to be broken. So we follow a family called the Everleys. 10 years ago, Violet Everly's mother left to break the curse and never returned. Now Violet must find her mother or else she will be taken in her place. So yeah, it sounds, again, gothic-y and fantasy-esque and really cool. I really enjoy the covers of all of these books, but this one, just look at that cover. It's absolutely stunning. Love it. So thank you for those 2 books, Paige. I then have a book that was sent to me by my lovely friend and subscriber Tracy, and that is Daughters of Sparta by Claire Haywood. So thank you so much, Tracy. This is a bit of a Greek mythology retelling. So we follow Clytemnestra and Helen, and it's about them growing up and then their marriages to the kings Agamemnon and Menelaus. It says, but when the weight of their husband's neglect, cruelty and ambition becomes too heavy to bear, they must push against the constraints of their sex to carve new lives even for themselves, and in doing so make waves that will ripple throughout the next 3,000 years. So Helen being Helen of Troy and Clytemnestra being Agamemnon's wife who killed him. So yeah, it's a myth retelling about the women of Sparta and about what happened to them. So I'm excited to read this one. I've been really enjoying Greek mythology retellings, particularly around the Trojan War recently, so I'm happy to have that one and I'm looking forward to diving in. And then the final present that I have to show you today is the Wartime Book Club by Kate Thompson. This was given to me by my parents for my birthday, and this one is set in Jersey in 1943, so it's a Second World War story. It's about Grace Lee Motte, the island's only librarian, who is ordered to destroy books which threaten the new regime, but instead Grace hides the stories away in secret. Along with her headstrong best friend, postwoman B. Rose, she wants to fight back, so she forms the Wartime Book Club, a lifeline offering fearful islanders the joy and escapism of reading. So it's giving me literary Guernsey literary and potato peel pie society vibes, and yeah, it just sounds like it's going to be really interesting and really fun, probably a little bit sad because it's set in the Second World War, but yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. It sounds really, really interesting. So thank you, Mum and Dad. So those are all the books that I was given for my birthday. I was given some other birthday presents as well, but those are the books that I was given for my birthday. So thank you to all those people that sent me some birthday presents. I really, really appreciate it. All right, next up I've got 4 books that I just needed to get to complete my series. So as you may be aware, I always say that one of my favourite series of all time is The Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. However, I only read the Rainwild Chronicles quite recently. I've read all the other books many times a long time ago, and when I first went in to try and read the Rainwild Chronicles, for some reason I wasn't really enjoying them. I just didn't get into them, so I didn't bother reading that series, that particular quartet that is in the whole overarching Realm of the Elderling series. But then I did about a year or so ago. I borrowed them from a friend, so I needed to get them to complete my collection. So we have, that is not in order. So we have the first book in the quartet, which is Dragon Keeper. Then we have Dragon Haven, City of Dragons, and Blood of Dragons. I feel like I probably don't really need to explain what this series is about. This is the second to last little series within the overarching series, so I'm not going to go into detail about this series at all, but The Realm of the Elderlings is a high fantasy series, and we follow a series of different characters in different parts of the world, and it's about them living their lives, but also trying to kind of, there's some overarching themes to do with fixing the world and creating a new world and things like that. So anyway, I had to have them for my collection because I needed to complete the collection, so I have got those now. Next I'm going to show you 4 books that I picked up, or that myself and Rowan picked up from a couple of different book sales, book events, secondhand book sales. So we have The Trial by Franz Kafka. This is in a really beautifully kept kind of old-fashioned edition, which is just gorgeous. I really don't know much about this one at all. I obviously have heard of it because it's a classic, but I don't know a lot about what the book is actually about. Let's see if it will give us some idea. It does not really tell me much about the book. It talks about Kafka, but not the actual book itself. But I'm intrigued to read it, and see what I think of it. And then we have a little bit more of a beaten up copy, but still a kind of old school copy. This one was published in 1904. The Kafka was published in 1935. And this one here is a contribution to the critique of political economy by Karl Marx. So yeah, I don't know if I'll sit down and like read this cover to cover, but it's a good one to have just to refer to. So that's that one. And then I picked up Peril at End House by Agatha Christie, which is one of the Poirot mysteries. Not for any particular reason, it was just that it was there. It was like $1. And you know, I enjoy Agatha Christie every now and then, so why not have this one? So this one is about, well, it's mystery, as you would imagine. Its End House was most appropriately named. Its young mistress nearly met her end 3 times in 3 days. It was the 4th near-fatal accident witnessed by Hercule Poirot that convinced Miss Buckley that someone was trying to kill her. But who and why? Now the celebrated crime solver is dedicating himself to crime prevention. That is, until an unexpected and successful murder attempt carries Poirot's investigation to the bitter end. So yeah. And then finally we picked up Tank Girl by Alan C. Martin. So I don't really know much about this. I watched the kind of 80s movie of Tank Girl, but I don't know much about the book. Original Tank Girl writer Alan C. Martin pitches his foul-mouthed, beer-swelling, chain-smoking, kangaroo-shagging anti-heroine, star of a bevy of best-selling graphic novels, into her debut novel. Witness Tank Girl, Booger, Jet Girl and Barney as they launch an unhinged all-out assault on the unsuspecting town of Chenkers, in retribution for crimes to be revealed. Then revel in a bonus selection of short stories, unpublished comic scripts, poems and wanton mayhem. So yeah, it's a collection of different things to do with Tank Girl. So those were the books that we picked up secondhand. I now have 4 books that I picked up for projects. I'm not going to tell you what the projects are because a couple of them will be in the kind of secret vloggy things, but we have Esperanza Rising by Pam Munoz Ryan. So this is a middle grade and we follow Esperanza, who is a young woman or young girl who lives in Mexico, and she is a member of quite a rich family. Her father owns some vineyards and yeah, they do really well off the vineyards. She's used to a certain sort of style of life with the servants and all that sort of thing. Then her father dies and he leaves the home to her mother, but it's all under trust with her uncle, and her uncle basically tries to force her mother to marry him, and her mother doesn't want to, and so they escape to the United States. And it's about that. It's about escaping to the States. It's about Esperanza having to kind of figure out what to do now that she's no longer living the same kind of life and she's having to work. Yeah, it's really, I mean, read this one already and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well written. So there's that one. Then we have Lucky Broken Girl by Ruth Behar. I'm not 100% sure what this one is about. I haven't read this one yet. We follow Ruthie Mizrahi, who also moves from Cuba this time to New York. This one is historical. This one is a little bit more modern. And when she is just starting to kind of get used to her new life, she ends up in a car accident, quite badly injured. So it's about that, about the changes that happen to her in her life and her growing up and figuring out what to do with those and how to live and all of that sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to that one. Middle grade, this one as well. Then we have Madam by Phoebe Wynn. This is another kind of dark academia gothic type story. We follow Rose Christie, the new head of classics, soon overwhelmed by Carlton Bray's arcane traditions, unrivaled prestige and terrifying cool vindictive students. Rose's classroom becomes her haven. Rose uncovers the darkness that beats at the very heart of Carlton Bray. The lines between myth and reality grow ever more blurred. So yeah, like I said, another kind of dark academia gothic fantasy-esque type story, or supernatural anyway. This time we follow the classics teacher rather than the students, which is something a bit interesting. It says, one of the blurby things says, a thrilling debut reminiscent of Du Maurier, so that's a pretty great comparison. I bought this one, again, it's for a project, but this one was recommended to me by Victoria, from what Victoria read, so thank you, Victoria. And then the final book for projects, I bought this secondhand as well from that secondhand book event thing. It's actually 2 books in one. So we have Naked in Death and Glory in Death, which is the first 2 in death books by J.D. Robb, which is of course Nora Roberts. This is a detective story. I'll just read you the In Death, the first one, Naked in Death blurb. It says, named by the social worker who rescued her as a child, Eve Dallas is now a New York City cop who lives for the job. When a young woman is shot and killed in her own bed, Eve's investigation leads her to Irish billionaire Rourke. With an instant sexual attraction between them, Eve and Rourke must work together to find a sadistic killer, but can Eve trust a man whose past is as damaged as her own? So I've heard really good things about this series. I've heard that it is really well written and that the character development is really good, but also the mysteries are really interesting, so I'm looking forward to giving this series a try. So those are all the books for the projects, and then the final bunch of books that I wanted to show you are to do with, well, 2 of them are pregnancy books and then the rest are kids' picture books. So this is to do with the fact that I'm pregnant and we're going to have a baby. So from the same book event thing that we went to and we bought secondhand books, we also got That's Not My Dinosaur, Its Body Is Too Squashy, which is an Usborne touchy feely book. It doesn't have, written by Fiona Watt, illustrated by Rachel Wells. So the idea behind these books, if you didn't know, is that they have little areas of the different pages that have different textures, so the baby can feel the different textures. So it's an interactive book. This one, like I said, is secondhand. It has been drawn on a little bit, but it's going to be read by a 6-month-old. They're not going to know or care that someone drew on it, so figure it doesn't matter. Then my lovely friend Alison, who I was talking about before, who sent me The Little Prince, sent me 3 more baby books. So the first one we have is Axel Schafer's On the Farm. This is one of those board books that have little, you can move, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well. You can like move bits, so it's interactive again. You can see the sheep bouncing around. You can open the door and stuff like that. It is a board book again because these are aimed at sort of 3 to 6 months old. So I'm extremely excited to have these for our collection. Yeah, so there's that one. And then we had It Had to Be You by Lorraine Brantz. This is a high contrast picture book, so because babies don't have amazing eyesight, they get a lot out of the high contrast, so it's got the black and white and the red, and it's just about like, yeah, a love poem your baby can see. It's just about how, like, of all the babies that are born, it had to be you, like you're my baby, and it had to be you, you had to be ours, kind of thing. So that's really sweet. And then the final of these that Alison sent us is another one of the touching feely ones. Same kind of idea, different textures. Thank you so much, Alison. Really, really appreciate all those books. They'll come in very handy. And then the next 2 are pregnancy baby kind of books. So we have The Complete Australian Guide to Pregnancy and Birth by Sophie Walker and Jodie Wilson. So this is exactly what it says on the tin. It gives you lots of different advice and information about what you'll expect, what you should or shouldn't do, the kind of support you can get in Australia, some birth stories, what some of the potential complications can be, all sorts of things like that. So I thought that would be really helpful, and I have picked it up and referred to it quite a few times so far, so that's really good. And then the final book that I have here is Kid Wrangling by Kaz Cook. So this is kind of the sequel to Up the Duff, which is Kaz Cook's first book about babies and pregnancy and that sort of thing. They're like information books, but they're set up as though it's being told, some of it's being told by someone who is pregnant. That's the first one, which I have as well, but that was given to me quite a while ago. So it's not part of this haul. But there's just all sorts of like information about what to do with babies and toddlers and like how to pick up a newborn baby, what to expect in the first year, your support team, what's going to happen to your boobs, common things that are going to happen, napping, like postnatal depression, all the things that could happen, all the things that you should expect, milestones, all that sort of thing. So I'm sure that this will come very in handy. This was secondhand as well. Hello! We are at a slightly different angle because I realised that when I was filming earlier, I actually forgot to mention 2 books. So they are The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty and The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the second and third book in the Daevabad trilogy. My best friend Rachel sent me this one because she knew that I was reading it and enjoying it, and then I purchased this one, which is the final book in the trilogy, because we're reading it for the Daevabad read-along, which I will link the details of which down below. But yeah, so just wanted to jump in and mention those as well. So yeah, that is my haul. Let me know if there are any books in here that you are particularly interested in hearing me talk about. What books do you think I should prioritize reading? Obviously the pregnancy baby ones will just be picked up and put down as they're needed, and I'm sure I'll be reading these ones very often when we have a little baby. But the others, let me know if there's any that you want me to vlog specifically or anything like that. And also let me know any books that you've purchased recently. What are you most excited to read? All of that sort of thing. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me some kind of baby toddler emoji, because that's right there. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.